Happy New Year and welcome back to the StoryDads podcast. Eric and I are going to be talking about Monsters, Inc. with this one. This movie came out in 2001. It's been a classic ever since. We're going to talk about how incredibly technically perfect this film is and dig into some of the symbolism that's nestled in there that you didn't know you were taking in while you were absolutely glued to your seat watching this amazing film. So stick with us and we'll see you on the other side. What's up, Eric? Happy New Year, dude.
Happy New Year, man. We're back. We took a little hiatus, got refreshed, and now we are back in action, ready for StoryDads 2026.
I took a vacation from my problems.
Yeah.
From my
Anyone?
Hopefully,
our generation.
We all did. Yeah.
What
right.
about Bob?
Yeah.
Perfect. I mean, I would guess for therapists, that's got to be like foundational humor movie, right? Like, what About Bob part of like the therapy canon, or is it
not? I feel like for older therapists, I feel like for this young generation coming up, they don't know it very well. I know the movie, but it wasn't like the therapy movie.
Is there a young generation of therapists coming up, or
there's a lot.
Better? Okay.
There's a lot. I don't know if they're good, but there's a lot of people.
Is that like a target-rich environment with all the lunatics in the world? Now that everyone feels safe being crazy?
I think how we've all degraded our standards, and therapy is just, I like talking to my friends about their problems, so I could just do that professionally and just go get a rubber stamp degree and do that. I think that became easy for a lot of people. I think therapists in some ways have become the new clergy. Rather than go talking to your pastor, you find your secular version of that to go do that. So I think there's a lot of that too. I think if I'm optimistic, I think there's a positive sense that people realize, like, I need to seek counsel. I need to seek someone to get some support for, and there's a lot of ways that can go sideways, but there's a lot of ways that can go good too. I think our practice does a very good job with that. So yeah, we're jumping back in. We decided January is going to be Pixar month. We got 3 Pixar stories we're gonna kick it off with, and then we got a whole schedule we're ready to roll out. So I'm excited to show everyone what we got in store for 2026. I think it's gonna be a good year.
Yeah, let's go. All right, so Monsters, Inc. Let's like wrap on this one. Introduce that one a little bit.
Yeah.
Where and when were you when you experienced Monsters, Inc. for the first time?
It wasn't until I became a dad. This was in this lost area for me as when did it come out? It did 2010s.
2001.
2001. Okay, so not mid-20s. 2001?
2001, Monsters, Inc. It was one of the first, the initial rollout of Pixar movies.
Wild. Okay. So I would have been 8th grade. This was not on my radar at all. I didn't even realize. I mean, it's shocking for me hearing 2001. Yeah, the Disney. This is a kind of dead zone for me as far as kids movies. And it wasn't until I started having kids and they were going through all these stuff, and I'd hear about it. People liked it, and Pixar. Well, I feel like this was kind of before Pixar was just hitting on all cylinders and really cranking out classics. But it's a very good movie, and looking back, I mean, it's fun.
Yeah. I'm looking at the poster, and it said, from the creators of Toy Story. So at the time,
okay,
like you said, they didn't have this, unadulterated canon of excellence yet.
Right.
Right. There's still those initial points that are yet to define.
So what would have been
line.
out? Because this would have been before Up, and I feel like Up really cemented as Pixar, big, emotional, pull at your heartstrings was when I first got that idea in my mind. This is before that then.
Yeah, let's see. So at the time you had Toy Story, A Bug's Life, Toy Story 2, and Monsters, Inc. And then the next movie that would come out 2 years later would be Finding Nemo.
This came out before Toy Story 3, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, long before Toy Story 3. There was a big gap there, which is part of why Toy Story 3 has that in the story.
Yeah.
So it's before Incredibles, before Cars, before Ratatouille. But, I know for me at the time, so 2001, I would have just been out of CalArts and, so everyone was kind of watching Pixar because at the time when I was at CalArts, 98 to 2000, before I got kicked out, they were headhunting like actively. So like the people were like unable to graduate from the animation program because they were going off to work at Pixar, before they could even,
Why'd you drop out of your school? Pixar wanted to hire me. Yeah, that's a good reason.
Pretty good reason. I got headhunted by like the number one.
Pete Docter came knocking on my door and wanted to chat with me about his new film idea, and he needed an animator for it.
When the doctor is in, my tuition is out. That's terrible. And so I remember people were watching, going like, "When are they going to make a bad one?" Because like A Bug's Life was amazing. And then Toy Story 2 is like, has no reason to be this good.
No reason to be that good, yeah.
Because up until now, being related to Disney, every time Disney rolled out a sequel, it was always like a direct-to-video thing. And there are all these like sort of like cash grabby, like, low resolution film, Jafar's Revenge and all that stuff. And so, totally skippable. And then Toy Story 2 came out and everyone goes, is this one better than the first one?
Right.
What is it doing? And then Monsters Inc. came out and so just a little bit of my sort of like hacky Pixar lore is that they launched on an initial like few projects that were those founders kind of pitched internally to each other, like, all right, these are the first ones we're going to develop and go for. And someone out there, probably one of my peers that actually worked on these, could tell me, and I just don't know. So Monsters Inc. was one of those initial ones that was part of the founding spirit of where Pixar was going to go. And it wasn't until much later where they were starting to develop new stuff after they had already been big. But so this was like Monsters Inc. was always going to be made. Yeah, essentially. And technology-wise, the hair technology in this is a big deal, and there's a lot of effects. Like there were a lot of things about this.
It's interesting because when we did our Christmas hierarchy episode, we were kind of crapping all over Polar Express and just how bad the animation is. Then this came out right around the same time, and there's a couple of funky animation things that haven't aged perfectly. The little girl Boo, she looks kind of robotic in a couple spots, but like for what in my mind is known as a pretty bad time for just CGI type of animation. I like when I rewatched it, I did not know it was 2001. I wasn't thinking of it in that phase because it just looks and is aged so well.
Yeah. Well, they were really smart about the way they designed their characters, and they always have been, with the exception, like, they were pushing the envelope with Sid and Toy Story. The humans in Toy Story are pretty rough, but but making a CG film about toys that have a plastic quality to them already is really smart. Like, it's just strategic. And we got to be forgiving because even at the time, it's like when you go back and you think about playing, PlayStation 2 and your parents walking in and going, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe how beautiful this is."
And as a kid of the 90s, when my kids tell me that my Nintendo 64 graphics, when they see me playing old games, look bad, it's like, get out of here with that heresy. These are amazing.
And then the other line is like, it's not about the graphics. And it's like, it was about the graphics. Like when Mario 64 came out, it was like, oh my, this is like being in virtual reality.
I know, I'm in this world, right? Well, I mean, like, but the graphics haven't aged well, but also like, not that we're unpacking like the video game, like all the like open world mechanic stuff, like how Mario moves and the different types of jumps, and like they invented so many things for that game that like, they would later perfect, but like it was mind-blowing at the time that you could even do these types of things.
And so similarly, Monsters Inc. came out and nobody could believe how good computer generated cartooning was, and at the time there was still 2D cartoons to contend with. I think because Princess and the Frog would be Disney's last one. Although I don't know if it was you or someone else that was saying that they have greenlit another 2D film that's coming out, which I hope is true.
That'd be cool.
But so it's like it was, flaunting some new technology and then like some really cool character design, and then of course really what our podcast is about is the story. Honestly, for me, where Pixar, really the peg they really hung their hat on is story.
Right. Right.
They came out and I'm looking down this list, and I don't think they dropped a dud until, I mean, we can talk about this like, I love The Good Dinosaur, but that's probably the first one that was sort of like,
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think The Good Dinosaur is very good. It's the one that felt like, you know how Polar Express feels like you're just really wanting to be a Christmas classic? Good Dinosaur felt like we're trying for something, right? And in a lot of ways they kind of succeed, but it's like, you kind of hit the mark, kind of not.
Yeah, like every Pixar movie, you come away like really just nailed through the heart. Like the through line and the character arc and everything is like so direct.
Yeah.
And The Good Dinosaur felt a little bit like, just spread a little thin. Like, I didn't really know exactly what it was about and like who it was. It's just got a little.
No, I get it.
Watered down a little bit.
It's certainly not a perfect movie. There's a lot of heart to it, but
yeah, I love it.
It's a Western.
But like, so that's like 2015 to so that they went like 20 years without having a movie where you were kind of like, eh. Yeah, I'm looking at like Wall-E. We'll do that one later this
that
month.
One's coming out.
And phenomenal. And then of course Cars 3, it was awful.
Well, the sequel stuff is a different thing, right? Like, we have on the calendar. We did our episode on Wreck-It Ralph. That was Disney, but like I love Wreck-It Ralph. The Wreck-It Ralph sequel is a catastrophe. There's sequels is its own issue.
Sequels are rough, and yet Pixar made this habit of just killing it with their sequels, which is unheard of,
right?
Largely. So
let's jump into the story here. So it's a buddy movie, Mike and Sully, and working class dudes. You probably know the story better than I do. Like I've watched it a handful of times with my kids and put it back on rewatch. But yeah, let's jump in.
Yeah. So the cool thing about this story is that it's a buddy movie, but it's a detective story. And so sort of like how The Big Lebowski is a PI movie with like just the world's worst hapless PI.
Yeah.
This one's it's a detective story. They stumble into a crime and wind up like busting this case wide open, and it's smart because it's a detective story without being detectives. Yeah, without being reporters. Like these are all kind of like the screenwriting sins that the naive fall into really easily. I mean, obviously, sometimes you want detective stories to be about detectives because they have, authority and powers, dynamics. But like our favorite mysteries usually are not solved by cops. Like, Miss Marple. Harry Potter. Those are mysteries. Like those are all detective stories.
Yeah, we're not doing the TV show but Stranger Things. All of what I think is make those things so awesome. The first 4 seasons it's a big giant mystery. It's who's this guy? What's this mysterious thing? Why are these things happening? We have to unravel the mystery. We use all our Dungeons and Dragons stuff to like explain that, and a lot of that wasn't present in this last season, which is why I felt like it didn't land quite as much. But the hapless or the regular person would discover something. No one believes us. We have to be the one to encounter this mystery. Is we will always be drawn to that. And so mysteries are one of the only genres that are, I think we talked about this before, like a genre it's a 4-quadrant genre. Everybody it fits into
loves
every other, and it fits into every other genre too. You can do a comedy mystery, you can do an action mystery, you can do a horror mystery.
Right. And so this ultimately is like a buddy detective, like mystery story with this awesome like dad, becoming a father kind of quality.
And so, but that's specifically Sully's story. Is he's the becoming a father to Boo, because it's not as much with his buddy Mike. Mike's the more comedic guy the whole time.
Yeah, and his arc is maybe less dramatic.
Yeah.
And Sully's arc is a little more like a.
But what would Mike's arc be? Because he's, I just see him kind of playing support role the whole time.
Mike's arc or Sully's?
Yeah, Mike's. Yeah, no, Sully's is clear.
Yeah, Sully's pretty good. Mike's arc is going from being like just second fiddle to like really coming into his own.
Okay. Yeah.
Right, so he gets to go from being second fiddle to the
he's the comedy guy by the end too. He wants
yeah. So he goes from support role to lead, and then Sully kind of does like matures from being like the spotlight guy to being sort of the executive and the administrator. So
well, his skills, because he's the best at what he does at the beginning. Everyone knows him as the star player on the team. He actually scales up. So it's now just about him being very good at what he does. He's empowering everyone else to excel as well.
Yeah. And so, it's such a like the plot is so terrific.
Mm-hmm.
And it's told so perfectly and magically. I feel a little lost in how to like pull it apart, because it's almost like it's like when you read a poem and then you ask the poet, well, what does it mean? And the poet's like, that's what it means.
Yeah.
Monsters Inc. is one of those movies that's like so virtuosic.
Yeah. I mean, I was watching through it, and it didn't have this like, from our StoryDads lens of symbolism and meaning and what's all the messages that comes out. It's story about parenthood and discovering parts of yourself, the relationship, just basic stuff we look at. But when I say basic, that makes it sound like it's just kind of another movie, but like it just does all those things very, very well.
Yeah, it stacks from the perspective of like the technical storytelling. It does its world building flawlessly. It does its character building flawlessly. It develops its plot flawlessly. It does exposition flawlessly. And every scene and every dialogue exchange, like we've talked about before, developing character, developing plot, and making jokes every single time with every line. It's one of those, it's so tight. Like there's not a single minute that is accidental or wasted.
Right.
Hey, Story Dads listener, I hope you're enjoying this podcast. If you are, and even if you're not, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, send this to somebody, or even just tell them about it on a car ride. And any review or comments really helps us out. So thanks. Enjoy the rest of this one. The nature of having them be monsters is, I think, really a powerful symbol. That moment where, so it's a buddy movie, it's a detective story, it's a movie about fatherhood, but it also has the structure in the Sully and Boo relationship of a romantic comedy. Just it's like but it's a it's a platonic romance. It's a father-daughter right? So he gets girl, loses girl, gets girl, loses daughter, gets daughter back, kind of thing. And so in that moment where he manifests his monstrosity, because the whole time Boo should be afraid of this guy. He's like the number one monster.
That's the best part of the movie, I think, is when he actually lets the monster out, and she's like, oh my gosh, like there is actually a terrifying beast that's there. And then she runs off. And then it was such a moment that, like, as a dad, you can just relate to, when like you used to go to set boundaries and you yell and anger and all that comes out, which is part of being a dad. And there's a way that's got to go. But when your kids first experience that, it's like, whoa, it's jarring.
So the like monstrosity within every father that is in part what draws your children and your spouse, like, and your role. It draws people to that role. It's also the thing that has to be meted out so delicately.
Well, I think it's why it works with these characters, why she feels secure with Sully, because yes, he's this big teddy bear to her, but he's also big and strong and a protector who can provide security for a helpless child like that. And it intuitively makes sense as a viewer that character would experience that. But then when the monster gets unleashed, it's like, oh my gosh, that is very much there. But you can't have that strong protector without that monster side.
Right. And the way that they make it right, when he comes out and he's scary. So for one thing, he's not doing it at a human. He's just demonstrating like how the depth of the abyss, right? Like that's in us. And then later on, Boo finds herself in a position where she needs a monster.
Yeah.
And first of all, she needs a monster in Sully, but also she needs a monster in herself. And when, why am I blanking on his name? Steve Buscemi.
Randall?
Yeah. When she turns on him, because Randall was her monster.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, he's a shape-shifting, slithering, like he's a dragon, right? He's like a magic evil, like serpent. So he kind of looks like Satan. He's also kind of a dragon. He's right. And so that's her.
He's a liar. He's an accuser. He's the,
He's killing children, right? So he steals, kills, and destroys, right? So he has all the qualities of Satan. It's Boo's personal, Satan.
There's also a bit of a, like, the spirit of Cain in his character, where he's resentful that he's not the guy. His sacrifices aren't enough, and Sully's always one step ahead of me, kind of similar to Scar in The Lion King. Mufasa gets all the things, and I should be the one who's better.
Right, which is the fallen star Lucifer story. So he's like extremely Luciferian.
I'm smarter. Yeah.
And he's clever, and like he is really good at being a monster.
He's a good villain. Yeah.
He's so he does have a lot of these qualities that he's just so anyway, in order for Boo to defeat, because she's the one who defeats her monster, and she defeats it by turning around and doing the same roar that she watched Sully do.
Yeah.
And so it's like, on the one hand, it's heartbreaking because he absolutely scared her and it risked their relationship. And then on the other hand, it was necessary in order to equip her to be able to embody that herself in order to face the world and defeat this accuser that, Satan just means accuser.
Right.
And so I think about, as a father, we're constantly juggling this dance of like, yes, I want to be your friend and I want to be in relationship with you. Yeah. And I'm your dad. I'm like the giant monster that has to that you have to live with. I'm sorry. You have to live with someone who's like 8 times your mass, and but I'm responsible to equip you to go and fight your own accusers and monsters out in the world.
Well, I think, so on one hand, yes, I'm sorry you have to deal with the intimidation of dealing with this big, strong, scary guy at home in your father. Also, man, you need a big, strong, scary guy at home in your father to be able to equip you to do all those things, because if you don't have that in a way that's channeled appropriately, she doesn't get equipped in that way. You can't learn all those things to.
Yeah, Randall wins.
And kind of the world. Yeah, Randall absolutely wins. And
had she not witnessed what a real monster looks like and been able to internalize it and integrate it and then use it appropriately on the right target, she would just continue being afraid of Randall.
Right.
And then be in a state of continued childhood.
And it works because he's an integrated monster. He's able to, he's a softy, big teddy bear guy throughout the movie. Yeah. But you realize early on it is because he is the star player of the team. He is the most competent, capable one, and he does have a genuinely scary side. And I feel like, some people might hear this and be like, oh, what? So you want dad to just be this big, angry tyrant who just throws around his weight and bosses everyone around? No, that's the villain Randall.
I'll tell you what it is. It's the other idiots on the monster floor.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Because they're monstrous sort of incidentally, and so they make dumb mistakes, and they're they're comic relief left and right, and it's like slapstick stuff because they're monsters very incidentally, and we see that Sully trains. Sully is monstrous very intentionally.
Right.
And so that, I think, is what we're telling people, or what we think the movie is telling people.
Sure.
Is hone this, train this, be intentional.
Channel it to the proper place.
Yeah.
Find the place that this needs to go. And, I don't think it's an accident in the end. Out of that biggest scary guy, you discover, hey, laughter is actually a better energy here that creates that. But I think you don't get to that without the the foundation of the tough guy, the fear, the respect, all that comes with that, right? Because without that, if he's just hapless, if he's just Mr. Lofty the whole time, but there's no substance behind it, then he's useless. Then he's not going to be worthy of being any sort of father figure. And it's, we say, I think it's the Peterson quote, you're scared of what strong men look like wait till you see what weak men are capable of. Like, that's what I see like a resentful guy like Randall would be.
Yeah. Randall and the people who are complicit in him. And I'm freaking blanking on the boss's name right now.
Yeah.
The spider guy. But so those are the weak men. They're like, yeah, sure, whatever you want. You guys are impressive and scary enough, and I'll just go along with it.
Well, and they hide behind their role. They hide behind Randall's. He's another one of the star players on the team, and he really wants to be the guy and the boss. He just throws the weight around the company, and he can play that boss role, but he doesn't really have much of like substance or competence or actual skill to back it up.
Yeah. I think that, like, in terms of symbolism, obviously there's layers and layers and layers of themes and the plot devices and the character twists and so we could examine all of that. But from the perspective of like symbolism and story dads, this is a very dad.
Absolutely, it's a dad movie for sure. Yeah. Because I was wondering, like, it similar like when we did Goofy movie. Are there any moms in this movie or mom figures? Not really.
Yeah, not really. There's like the romance figure for Mike. He has a relationship that he's navigating.
Yeah.
And then there's there's the what do they call her? Number one or
the real boss, the undercover boss at the end. Yeah.
And so there is like a kind of like a overwatching matriarch, which is funny because again, as a dad, that quality is there in our household, because it's like I will throw the kids really high in the air until finally mom says, okay, that's high enough.
Too much. Yeah.
And we'll roughhouse, and the rules when we're roughhousing is like, hey, if you roughhouse and you get hurt, that was part of roughhousing, and you can be hurt and we'll make sure you're okay, but you don't get to be upset about it. And mom will step in and be like, hey, that's rough enough, and so that gets important to have that, matriarch that
that's
checks.
An important counterweight too. Absolutely. Like those are very much needed, right?
Yeah.
Both are needed for the household to flow, the family to work, the company in this case to work.
Yeah. But I do think this movie, I think a lot of the early Pixar movies, frankly, are very much about parenthood. And also,
you could feel the parents' heart behind it. I think a lot of the stuff Pete Docter did, you can feel like this is connecting with his kids thing he did.
Yeah. And this one does feel like it's a dad movie, or a daddy-daughter movie.
Yeah.
And whereas Toy Story feels like a father-son kind of thing. And
from Andy and Woody?
Yeah, like the Woody and Buzz and Andy, like it just feels like a very like boy kind of movie.
It definitely.
And this one feels like a dad-daughter movie.
Dad-daughter movie, absolutely. Okay.
And universally appealing. And so the arcs that kind of crisscross there. I mean, it's amazing how many plot lines again, on a technical level, this movie is like virtuosic, how many plot lines they have crisscrossing and all intersecting at the exact same time, so that there's like 3 or 4 character arcs that meet at the same time as I think 5 or 6 subplots that all, it's just crazy.
Well, and it doesn't feel too packed in. It does you can watch it and jump in wherever and not feeling like I missed 5 different things here and nothing's making sense.
Yeah.
And fun characters, great. I mean, just again, Pixar just technically was knocking it out of the park, especially early on like this.
Yeah. And so, for this one, I mean, it's weird. We'll run our mouths for an hour.
We could take a movie like Dumbo and go for an hour and a half, which is longer than the movie. And this one, we're just like, what else is there to say? It's love and parents and all that, right?
the deepest. I mean,
That was my thinking coming into this episode. I'm like, I got a couple like ideas on like, the father daughter and becoming a monster, and needing to go into that. But it's all, I think the beauty of this one really is just the tight storytelling and all the technical stuff we've unpacked.
Yeah, and it's one of these where, okay, so I guess let's cover villain comeuppance.
Yeah, there's a couple. So Randall, he's uncovered, right? They expose him as, hey, he's the one who let in the monster that set off the whole mystery. And why did he do it? He did it because he was resentful, because he was number 2. He wanted to be number 1. So we're in the midst of NFL playoffs and football, and there's always the story of the one disgruntled wide receiver who wants the ball more and is complaining he's not getting it, and he's kind of a pain in the butt and doesn't last as long on the team. Around that, there's we can all think of those stories. That came to mind when I was considering a character like Randall.
You're gonna have to be the one who runs with the sports metaphors, because I won't get it.
I got no help from you on this side there. Yeah. No, it's the player who it's more about him and his individual stats than it is about the team and the team actually winning.
Yeah. And so he gets cast down. And this movie,
they throw him into the door where he's not sent to Boo, who is his kid to scare, sent to a place he doesn't fit. So if you want to be the top level, and I see this in sports a lot of times too, the guy who's the disgruntled wide receiver who wants to be the star, who wants it to all be about him. Eventually the team is like, I don't care how talented you are. This guy is a pain in the butt. We don't want him on the team. And we trade him to Cleveland, who Cleveland is just a wasteland for players who their career is waste away, right?
Sorry, friends in Cleveland.
No, but Browns fans will agree with me. They get it. They hate their team too, just as much as anyone else.
Yeah, so he gets sent to the swamp.
Yeah, he gets sent to the swamp, to a place where he doesn't fit. He's not a scheme fit for that team. He doesn't fit within the whole system of how that works. And then the people there are just like, oh, there's a gecko here. We're in the swamp. We swat geckos all the time.
Yeah.
It's the worst place for him to be.
Yeah, and what's funny, it is actually, it's like he looks like a snake. He looks like an alligator. He's cast out with these reptiles where he's not special. He's just another reptile to beat with a stick.
Yeah.
And so he gets cast out to where like he wanted to be the most special, and now he's absolutely he's a rodent. Like he's vermin. And then the plant boss, he gets arrested and humiliated.
Well, he gets arrested and humiliated because they catch him in the scheme where he exposes himself as like Mr. Cutthroat. I will be unscrupulous about the rules and just cut whatever corners I need in order to advance my career.
Yeah, and there is also something to be said. There's a symbol in there that I haven't quite picked apart yet, which is how they, the boss is not evil in his motivation. He's evil in his execution, right? Because he's actually not trying to cover his ass. He's going like, we are going to run out of Scream, and this is the only way. Like Randall came up with how we're going to do it, and like and we just got to keep the Scream flowing. And so his sin is more of one of just being unable to adapt and unable to declare something as wrong.
Right.
Right. So he's more concerned. Like it's almost like the parallel I would see would be like a Pharisaical kind of position where he's
lost the plot. He's lost the reason why we're doing this. This is not the Monsters Inc. is not about providing energy to the world of monsters. It's about we meet our quotas and we check these boxes, and whatever we need to do to check the boxes, we're going to keep doing that. So he's lost sight of the mission, and it's corrupted his ability to lead.
Right. So his mission has become maintain the status quo, not provide effective resource.
Right.
And our heroes, who are, typically you want your sort of trickster, your malleable heroes that are capable of kind of changing form, changing their way of being to adapt to new circumstances. They figure it out, and they figure it out because they're sweet and likable, and because they develop a relationship with children. So instead of exploiting them, they develop a relationship, and they go, there's more resource in relationship than there is in exploitation.
Well, yeah, they start seeing we work together with kids, we make them laugh, we form a positively connected relationship, not just terrifying them. That brings more energy.
Yeah. So maybe this is a stretch, but I'll try to land this symbol there, which is in our own lives when we want to extract value or have influence over another person, you can do it by force. But really, if you want lasting resource, it comes from a relationship.
Yeah.
And so I can step into your life and try to like get value from you or dictate how and what you do from a position of like forceful exploitation, or I can actually get to know you. And then I will get informed by you, and then you are more willing to be informed by me. You know, so that's in there somewhere, maybe.
No, absolutely. Well, because that's a great deal. Everyone loves it. Kids want to love their monster. They want to laugh. They want to enjoy that. And they're going to be more open to that over the course of their whole life rather than just, I think they even say at the beginning of the movie, like there's a short period of time where kids are even susceptible to like being scary and then they like age out of it. So we're running out of resource and this thing is depleting. They sprinkle that in at the beginning. And so they just realize like getting like motivating people from that place, it's a diminishing resource. Whereas finding laughter is a boundless, endless resource.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
Yeah. So Monsters Inc., turn it on anytime. If it's on, you could seriously, that movie could be on at any point in the movie and I'll sit down and watch it. You know, like
I'm
it's
still blown
so
away that was 2001. That's shifting just the way I think about that movie.
25-year-old movie, dude. John Goodman was still fat back then.
Yeah, that's wild.
Billy Crystal had never hosted the Oscars.
Wow, that's wild.
I don't think. Maybe he had. I don't know.
Maybe but yeah, great movie. Definitely go run and enjoy it. So yeah, what do we got set for next week?
Next week what is next week?
Inside Out.
Inside Out.
Therapist special. It's this one we're actually talking about. We're like, do we want to do Inside Out? It's a little on the nose because just like symbolism, like it's the whole movie is symbolism.
Yeah,
like,
all the subtext is super text.
Yeah, exactly. But I think there's a lot of fun stuff and little nuances that like you probably didn't see that we're gonna be able to help you unpack. And this whole month we're gonna jump in with Pixar stuff. You know, we had a lot of fun around Christmas and we've had some dad night out lately, but we really want to jump back in with some of our classic kids content, get back to our roots and what we do here at StoryDads and help you view the movies you watch and love with your kids in some deeper, more grown-up ways.
Yeah. And so thanks for being here. Take some of the some of the vibe from this out into the movie theater and examine some of the stories that you are forced to watch over and over and over.
All right. Thanks, Micah. We'll see you guys next time.
Yep. Hey, I hope you all enjoyed that. I know I did. Please tune in next time. And in the meantime, like, comment, subscribe. You can hit that notification bell if you want to know when we show up with another episode of inane, in-depth talk on a movie you've seen too many times. And if you're listening to this, please leave us a review. That helps us a lot. Thanks, and Merry Christmas.